Enemy of the state.
An enemy of the state.
Enemy of the state.
Dank Pod Stash.
You're listening to Enemy of the State's Dank Pod Stash. The Pod Stash is available on YouTube, SoundCloud, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Let us know where you want to listen, and we'll release there as well.
If you want to help us improve the podcast, check out our shops at blackmarketmemes.threadless.com and dankpodstash.threadless.com. Links will be provided. Anything you buy helps us make the Podstash better. Business owners and creators, advertise on the Dank Podstash. Reach a larger audience, make more sales. Email us at dankpodstash@gmail.com for details.
Washington State listeners, please check out Washington State Anarchists and Libertarians Facebook group. Help us expand the Agora face to face. All right, welcome to episode 12 of Enemy of the State's Dank Pod Stash. I'm joined as usual with my co-host David Ballantyne. How's it going, man?
It's going great.
Awesome.
I'm excited about this coffee.
Heck yeah. Speaking of coffee, this episode 12 is sponsored by Love Java, your gateway to health freedom. Find Love Java on Facebook, on Instagram at Love Java, and at lovejava.com. And segueing from Love Java, we have Jessica Love here with us today as our guest. How's it going?
Hey, most excellent, guys. Thanks for having me.
We're really happy to have you here. Jessica's the owner and founder of Love Java, lives in New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project, and has been a phenomenological agorist most of her life. So you gotta kind of go into that phenomenological agorist for me. I haven't heard phenomenological before.
I just recently picked it up. I totally stole it from somebody.
Nice. It sounds like meme culture at its finest, so this should be a good show. We're all on the same page.
Perfect.
It's not your word, it's our word, comrade.
That's right. So tell us about Love Java.
Okay, Love Java is the gateway to your health freedom. Basically, after I moved to the Free State Project, I wanted to totally transform my life, and I got off of all kinds of pharmaceutical medications and basically got rid of all toxins in my home and food, and went for a complete total reset. And at that time, when I initiated my healing journey, I discovered paleo living and paleo foods, and stumbled across the butter coffee phenomena. And I started putting butter in my cheap coffee, and it made me feel better. And then I bought better coffee to put butter in, and better butter, and then added the MCT oil, which is part of the special formula. And it just basically started transforming my life. It fueled my body in a completely different way I had never felt before, and nourished my brain and started balancing my hormones. Instead of going to bed when the sun comes up, I got myself on a circadian rhythm, and it's a lot of small elements that helped me to get to a more natural, healthy state of well-being. And I attribute the portal to that with drinking butter coffee for breakfast every day.
Wow, that is a lot of benefits from butter coffee. That's really awesome. This is actually my first cup. I'm drinking some Love Java right now. This is my first cup of butter coffee ever, and it is delicious.
Yay, awesome. I'm so glad that you're enjoying it. Wait till you see how you feel.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, I had a cup yesterday, and it was pretty tasty. I definitely enjoyed it. You may have found a customer in me at the very least.
Yay, awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
And then so you might notice that your brain lights up a little bit, and basically the optimal way to use it is to have it for breakfast every day, and it gives you intermittent fat fasting benefit. Basically, you're fueling your body in the morning off of liquid healthy fats, and it's just going to totally change the way you start your day, and it's going to reduce your cravings for sugar and your brain's going to start functioning better. You're going to have a nice, healthy, sustained energy throughout the day without any crash or jitters or headache or stomach ache. All super clean ingredients. You're really fueling your body like optimally.
That's really cool.
Nice.
Really, really
So
cool.
I do intermittent fasting, so this is beneficial for somebody who would do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are good. That's a good option to try for your health, and especially if you're looking to like reset. But I think possibly even better using liquid fats instead of just pure fasting, and especially for women, because women, when they don't eat, they actually hold on to fat because that puts our hormones into a state of survival mode as if there's not food, because we are still programmed as hunter-gatherer type humans. And so for women, intermittent fasting is going to actually cause them to hold on to fat, whereas fueling your body with healthy fats is going to help you feel great and actually burn fat at the same time.
Wow, I had no idea there was a different effect on fasting between men and women.
Because if there's no food around, if a female's not eating food, that's a signal to her body that there's a lack, there's scarcity, and it's gonna cause her body to hold on to fat. Could even fluctuate hormones and stuff. That should be the same for men too. I've just particularly read about it, for women because of fertility and stuff. Like your body will hold on to fat. If you're hungry and you're not eating, it's not being fueled so that you can survive longer off of stored fat.
Okay, very good. That makes a lot of sense. So you said you moved to New Hampshire to be part of the Free State Project.
Yes, I sure did.
How are you finding that?
Only 4 months after hearing. So what was the question? I'm sorry. I said only 4 months after hearing about it, even.
Oh, wow.
And then what was your question?
I was just wondering
Right?
what you thought of it, how you liked it. I've heard mixed reviews.
Right. It's definitely a mix. Let's put it that way. There's a lot of people here that have moved, and there's been different waves of people that have moved here. And people have also left to go do something different or moved on to other things. But there's like 4,000 and some movers now, and in the greater Manchester area, there's over 500. There's even over 100 of us just in my neighborhood. We call Porcupine Village.
Oh, wow.
So
Interesting.
It's extremely voluntary. The FSP is not a government, and there are no jobs available to work for the FSP. Basically, everybody needs to come here and get to work. And some people do that. They do just that. And some people are less motivated, or they are working 40 plus hours a week and are not able to devote much time and energy to activism. So and there's some people that kind of just want to be around the community. There's some people that are kind of waiting for other people to do something, and but there's definitely a lot of things happening that could really benefit from more energy and more people. The resources for time and energy are just, there's never enough. So I'm excited about what I've done here and what I'm doing now, and the future is looking pretty full of life and liberty.
That's great.
That's definitely good stuff. It sounds very interesting. I need to look more into that. I'm interested to hear a little bit more about, you mentioned the paleo lifestyle.
Yes, absolutely. The paleo lifestyle is like pre-agriculture. It's based on the type of living that humans experienced for most of our history as hunter-gatherers. And so, like, you just want to be as natural as possible for optimal human performance. And like I mentioned before, just like sleeping based on the circadian rhythm with nature, eating foods that are natural and whole and not processed. Before things came around like grains and legumes and sugar. So basically, I eat a performance paleo diet where about half of my intake comes from healthy fats every day. And so that's going to be the grass-fed butter, coconut oil, avocado, fish, eggs, uh, lots and lots of healthy fats. And then the other 50% of my intake is usually split between vegetables, fresh vegetables, and quality proteins such as grass-fed beef, wild-caught fish, and eggs.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, totally changed my life. And since I've been doing Love Java, Love Java is the, most has the most impact on moving into something like that, because you're going to start your day with that kind of fuel. And then once you start trading out your sugars for healthy fats, it's just going to completely transform your life and your energy and your brain function. And people that are looking to lose weight have lost up to a pound of fat a day. It just melts right off by using this method, especially that intermittent fat fasting protocol.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have eaten in the paleo style for pretty not long periods of time, probably a couple months, with some pretty heavy physical exercise, and it was great results. But I think the meat was having an effect on me, some digestive issues. I cut back on the meat a little bit, and it was better. But I have since strayed from there.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I eat like a medium amount of protein. It's not heavy on the protein. A lot of people assume that paleo diet or caveman diet is very meat heavy, but really, there's a lot of other nutrients and stuff out there that can really benefit you. And but then, I know somebody, the host of the New Hampshire Business Show, Chris. He's on basically an all meat diet, and he feels great. So, play with it, whatever works best for you. I was basically trying to be pretty hardcore paleo to reboot my health when I discovered this type of like performance um, version with the butter coffee and all. So, and like with the losing weight, people have lost like 50 to 100 pounds in just a few months. So, I was tinkering with it and looking to rebuild my brain and body, and I found what works for me. And after a few years of being like pretty strict about it, I've definitely made some compromises for cost and convenience over the last few years. And I basically don't really feel any worse really. I went back to eating some cheese and a little bit of dairy, and but doesn't really seem to affect me. I mean, I feel great every day. I wake up with energy. I don't need my Love Java first thing in the morning because I already feel great, and I attribute that to the intermittent fasting protocol.
That's awesome.
Because that conserves so much energy from digesting solid foods. So basically, when you give your body a break from digesting those solid foods, now you don't need to sleep quite as much, and your sleep is so much more restorative that I only need 5 or 6 hours of sleep, and when I wake up, I feel great. So it's been such a wonderful experience, and I am so happy and excited to share it with everybody.
Oh, we're definitely happy to talk with you about it right now. You said you don't need the Love Java, but with how tasty this is, I would still have it anyways. I'm really enjoying this cup of coffee.
Yeah.
But, so what can you tell us about your journey with Agorism? You said you've been a phenomenological agorist for most of your life.
Yeah, I would consider myself a lifelong free marketeer, and that would evolve into my newly adapted phrase of phenomenological agorist. And basically, I was raised in a fundamentalist religion, and I left when I was a teenager to start my own life. I was actually very passionate about starting businesses and changing the world. And I bought my own house when I was 17. I started a business when I was 18. And I was always, trying to get involved in something and get things started while I was paying on a mortgage and raising a child. And, so I've always dabbled in free marketeering, and I once I moved to the Free State Project, and like the free market is God here, or is supposed to be, I looked around, and of course there's commerce going on, but there's nothing that like could provide an outlet for people that really want to live that way. Like, we have Pork Fest every summer in June at Rogers Campground, and we have Agora Valley at Pork Fest, which is like the downtown business scene. And it's like the best part, and it's really thrilling, and it's like seeing a vision of what the future could be, but that didn't actually exist here in the Free State Project outside of Pork Fest. So I initiated Community Market Day, and Community Market Day I ran for about 4 years. The first 2 years were tons of blood, sweat, and tears, and it was very frustrating for me that all of the people that dream of the free market took so long to come on board, but I believed in what I was doing, and I just kept going, and eventually it took off, and we had 50 to 100 people at a time at each event. We had every kind of homemade soap, jewelry, clothing, scarves, cupcakes, bread, you name it, whatever you can think of, whatever you got. Plus, then I eventually added in services such as massage, Reiki, hair cutting, we had all kinds of stuff. Chiropractor, there was some farms that brought us fresh produce, meats and eggs and maple syrup. So that was all fantastic, and about the third year, I basically spread it across the state into like 5 other locations, and unfortunately, I haven't yet figured out how to clone myself, so that became difficult to keep up with, because I put a lot of energy into making those events happen. It was basically like a full-time job. So, and then I slipped on black ice here, Florida girl up in the Free State, and man, I broke my kneecap open. Oh, no. And so that put me out for a couple years. And, but once I wanted to do something with this coffee that I was selling at my Agorist events, and so just started working on ideas with delivering it to offices, and I did other community events outside of the Free State Project, and basically my product is from the future. I'm way ahead of the curve here, and most people do not understand what it is. And so, but once I get right into those niche market areas, it's great. People are so happy and grateful that it exists, and that goes excellent. And people had always asked me about how to get Love Job at home when I would sell it at Pork Fest and events, and nobody wanted to buy the ingredients and mix them at home themselves. So eventually I caught on and said, you're going to have to put this in a package. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I started doing, and put up a website my friend helped me with down in Florida. It looks fantastic. And right now I'm working on this beautiful new logo and doing some media advertising with you guys, and it's very exciting. I actually just put Love Java in a couple of stores 2 days ago for the first time. So that's we have Area 23, which is in Concord, and that's owned by Free Staters. It's a community pub, and so Love Java is now available there.
Nice.
Amazing.
Well, holy cow, you're not joking about needing to clone yourself. I thought I was busy. I need to quit complaining and get to work. So
right? I've been inspired.
If you drink Love Java, it's almost like cloning yourself. I mean, you will double up your performance at least.
I'm definitely going to give it a shot.
As you can get.
So you said a lot of people don't understand the community market day stuff. What would you like to explain to people who don't understand what's going on?
Well, it was just that, like, people were like, what is she doing, And I was like, oh, it's a free market event, and people always are, like, waiting for things to catch on before they jump in, which is, like,
Yep.
So, so I just keep having these events, and there would be a few vendors, and I would buy something from every vendor just to keep them to come back, because
Yeah.
if the vendors stopped coming, then it would have fallen apart. But to get the customers to actually come, people that weren't vending, was like really difficult. And so about 2 years after having an event every month, more people started coming, and word was spreading across the state. We have a lot of off-the-grid type Liberty people that are here from the Free State Project up in Grafton and kind of off-the-grid areas up there, and they started hearing about it. They loved the idea. They started driving down and doing haircuts and selling strawberries, and that was super cool. The part that I was saying people don't understand the project was more in reference to just like butter coffee and basically
Okay.
CBDs is still like such a learning curve. Like, I've been to cannabis festivals with my project, and people still don't know what CBDs are. I mean, it's just like still way more market education and adaptation is going to be needed here.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I've noticed that most people don't know what CBDs are, unless they're in an illegal state, and then they have more knowledge of it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And the what people need to know most is that CBDs are legal. They are from hemp. They are legal in
Yeah.
all states. It is protected under the hemp farming laws. It will not
Yep.
show up in a drug test. There's no THC. I mean, almost every single person has the same objections. So, get the word out. Like, CBDs are legal, and it's like basically like the fountain of youth, like even people that are extremely ill, cancer patients and stuff, like they might even need THC and CBD together, but it's those CBDs that are difficult to find. It's a special type of plant that's bred, and it's a really powerful thing. And what happens when you put CBDs in a cup of warm, liquid, healthy fats with caffeine, it synergizes. There's been some scientific studies on it. I cannot find the link anymore, but basically it's magic in a cup. I don't know what else to say.
I personally swear by CBDs. I use CBD for my anxiety and other issues, and I find it extremely beneficial. And as you mentioned, a lot of people think of it, well, does it get you high? Is it THC? No, THC is the psychoactive part of cannabis, and CBD is something completely different.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yes, you won't feel high or stoned at all. And it's crazy because the market is so confusing right now, because we've got people that are looking for medicine, and they don't want to get stoned. They just want to get healed. And the whole CBD market right now is saturated with medicated junk food. It's lollipops and cookies and gummy bears, and they're not even like trying. Like, where are the superfoods already? Like, people want to get better, and there's no products out there. I basically have found one product that's kind of similar to mine. It's the butter and the MCT oil and the CBDs, but not the coffee. And they are sold out at $200 and $300 per bottle.
Whoa. Looks like you hit the niche market there. That's awesome. We need to get you on Jopra, on Joe Rogan, and really blow it up.
Absolutely. And there's like other things that could be like medicated superfoods. There could be CBD green juice. There could be CBD high quality, super nutritious salad dressings. I mean, I make all this stuff at home already. I've actually made healthy gummies, like out of grass-fed collagen gelatin and natural flavors without any sugars and stuff in it. So, there's a market for this stuff. I went to GNC the other day, and every time I go in GNC, I ask them, so when are you guys getting CBD products? And last time they told me that there's so much labeling bullshit, and every time that they try to get them in, there's a problem with the label. And then this time they told me, well, we'll probably never get them, but I'll tell you right now, if we got CBD products in here, they'd sell out immediately.
Sure. Wow. So it's just a bunch of
TNC.
regulations tangling, gumming up the works.
Sure, yeah. And then the fact that like everything that you see in the gas stations on the counters is like, gummy bears and corn syrup and red dye number 4, and you don't want to put that stuff in your body. You want to get the CBDs inside of a superfood.
Yeah, absolutely. With the added benefits of the food with it, huh?
Yes, yes. And the synergy of Love Java with the fats and the CBD and the caffeine is really, awesome. And I would love to make some other superfood type products. And ultimately, I've tried my product with so many people with so many different types of health concerns, and I'm just like, what can this stuff not heal?
Well, I've finished my cup a couple minutes ago. I am feeling great. This is just really awesome talking to you about this. You're so passionate about it, and it's really awesome to hear all this stuff. I really, really love the idea of a community market day. And I don't think that I'll be going to New Hampshire. I really like it over here in Washington. But I think it'd be really cool to spread that idea and get people doing community market days all over the country.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a friend come from Chicago that helped me with Love Java at Pork Fest this summer, and he was like, I'm going to do your idea in Chicago. And I was like, yeah, basically what you have to do is start talking to people about it, find out what their products are, services, hobbies, ideas they've always wanted to try. It doesn't even matter. Bring something and find somebody that's got a big basement in the winter. Find somebody that's got a big yard in the summer and throw an event, massively market it all over social media, as and get those people coming. They love it.
That's awesome. It's I find it interesting that you said a lot of people don't want to join in until other people have, kind of jump in with the crowd. That seems to be the problem with a lot of ideas in the anarchist, agorist, whatever communities everywhere. It's like herding cats, I guess.
Oh, that herding cats thing is real. And when you're trying to herd anarchist cats, it's almost impossible.
Got to incentivize.
It's almost impossible. Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that really helped bring people in was having a featured chef every event, is what I called it.
Oh, wow.
And basically I would have somebody come in and somebody would make lunch for the event and, serve chili or sandwiches or tacos or whatever. And I would love for some of the food to come from some of the farm vendors that are at the event that could be featured in the lunch. And so having something where people could just stop by and have lunch with their friends, even if they didn't want to buy soap or jewelry or, whatever, that brought a lot of people in. And then once they started having services like a chiropractor and a massage therapist, it was packed.
That's a great idea. There's that incentive right there. Call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner.
There you go.
That's awesome. You had sent me.
I was really inspired.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was really inspired by a movie that I was shown, documentary called Food for Change, about starting cooperative projects, kind of referred to the 60s and stuff like that. I was shown that documentary by the Transition Town Network, which is basically a network of about 2,000 towns around the world that have initiated a movement to get more independence for their neighborhoods and communities and less dependence on the state. And so they showed me the Food for Change, and it, documented people in the 60s getting together and starting their own food co-ops and stuff like that. And, it was basically things that started in a small room inside somebody's apartment, And so when you look at the big picture and you say, I want to build the free market, and then you reverse engineer that back to, well, how do we start that? And it starts very, very small, and somebody has to do it. And I wanted to be that person, and I would love to see other people take that idea and run with it.
Definitely. The individual is the important part. Personal change is where it's at. And I agree. I really like the gardening, taking control of your own food, if not necessarily gardening, but I like the gardening aspect of it. I think that's a major part of becoming ungovernable. I know David's into that as well.
Oh, awesome. I mean, I have never grown anything in my life, but I totally believe in it, and my position here is much better as, an initiator and a motivator and organizer kind of thing. But at some point I will have to learn how to grow my own food and stuff. I was thinking that, once we got these people, herding the anarchist cats together into this system of self-governance, economy and agorist economy, that more people would start gardening, even if it's just like a shelf in their house or whatever. And hopefully we could all get together and build a greenhouse here in New Hampshire is what we really need, like a community garden program.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
So it's been talked about for years. There's been properties scoped out and all, but we still have no community garden and no greenhouse.
Looks like one more thing for you to make that push.
Oh, golly.
Hey, you had sent me
some great gardeners and stuff.
Oh, I'm sure. You had sent me some links about the yellow vests. I see you've gotten into the yellow vest. Was the French yellow vest deal going on? What do you want to say about that?
Well, I just live my life open to different messages, and I try to honor when somebody approaches me with an idea or something. And this morning somebody sent me a message and was like, hey, here's a group, it's called Yellow Jackets World Awakening. And I was like, oh, well, let me look at that. And so then within 5 minutes I ordered a yellow jacket vest. And then I was like, well, I'll just wear it around town. And already I've gotten some questions, and people have been asking me, oh, well, what kind of rioting are you planning? Well, I'm not planning any rioting. I just want to bring awareness to the cause and support the French and say, yes, like, shit is fucked up, and like,
oh yeah,
you need to wake up. Like, why is this girl walking around in a neon yellow vest? And so I'm heavily networked with homeschoolers and local businesses and the stuff that I do all day. And some people know what I do and some don't, but like, the invitation was sent to me from somebody in America, and I sent it out to hundreds of people all across America and maybe a few other countries even. And I can see that what's going on in France is spreading quickly, and we don't have to use it to incite violence here, but we can use it to bring awareness. And people are very upset, and not everybody, but there's a lot of people looking for a way to do something, and nobody knows how to do anything. And we're in an information war. Social media, the person that sent me the invitation, their Facebook Messenger was blocked 5 minutes later.
Whoa.
There's only so many invites I can send at a time. Like, I have a friend that's been in Facebook jail for a month. I'm a big fan of Derek Bros of the Conscious Resistance Network, and he is actually pulling all of his content down from everything and moving to Minds and MeWe and Steemit. So just like it's an easy way to bring a level of awareness and be like, we need to do something here, people. And it could be as simple as leaving Facebook and starting new communities and infrastructure over on minds.com. And that's where I hope to be moving my stuff to soon. And, that there are a lot of people that are upset. And what if a bunch of people start wearing yellow jackets, and then we can all see how many of us there are?
Sure.
And then, there's a lot more of us than there are people in the government.
That's for sure.
We actually hold all the power, and how can we show that visibly that we have the power?
That's a really good visual marker. I hadn't thought of that, and that's really kind of funny. But what a strange question to be asked. What kind of riots are you planning? It's of
Yeah,
course that would
it's
be the
like
first thing that
ridiculous.
jumps into people's minds with all the videos and stuff coming out, but that's awesome that it turns into a conversation.
Right, absolutely. I mean, it was just like great when she sent me the link to the page that was titled, Yellow Jacket World Awakening, Humanity Unite. I was like, what an awesome idea. I was like, I'm totally in.
Absolutely. Yeah, sometimes you just got to jump right in, like you were saying. Take that plunge.
Yeah. Yeah, like, the Occupy thing that took off real quick. That shit was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, it seems like, 'tis the season. So let's bring some awareness to the fact that, we're all getting screwed and we need to figure out other ways to do things.
Absolutely.
And my solution is all for like hyper local, especially with the economy looking the way that it is, and like the growing of the food and just really being connected to your community, and you know finding ways to you know become self-governing organisms with your friends and neighbors and family, so that there's less dependence on the state. And, hopefully the more we withdraw and the more problems that come, like hopefully there will be so many cracks in the system that new systems will emerge, and the way I like to say it is the free market will shine like a mirage in the desert.
Yeah, that's awesome. I absolutely agree. There needs to be a lot of change on a personal level. Obviously, I feel that way for myself, and I really like the idea of the local change, focusing on that. It's a lot easier to build communities locally, obviously. There's just a lot of negativity, and so it's really nice to have such a positive voice on the show today. I've been feeling the negativity pretty strongly through social media, a lot of infighting with different, I don't know, hyphenated anarchists and whatnot. And it's just good to have your positive voice here. Yeah, change definitely needs to come from within first before it can go anywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pretty immersed in a lot of people that like to pick at each other and debate and argue and whatnot about their theories, and nobody agrees. I mean, there's a lot of libertarians and anarchists and voluntarists here, but like nobody agrees on anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of energy being spent doing things that aren't uniting us.
Yeah.
And it's just pretty simple to me. It's just like we could be figuring out what our common grounds are and how we can move forward doing things that will benefit ourselves by being more stateless. And the way that I see it, people would break up into their own tribes and groups based on their own personal preferences, needs, and economic theories.
Absolutely. You got to get to the point to be able to try all of that stuff, and then you can argue about which is better, or just let it show for itself. But if you can't get to the point where you can try whatever you want to try freely, then what's the point of arguing it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so yeah, like tons of experimentation is needed, and people always want something to be proven before they try. There's a lot of fear, and that personal change, that change from within, is really important. And like we're here to do something. Like the world is in a state of transition, and it's a slow, long transition, but it's there. And so we gotta all like kind of step up and be fearless and try our ideas and put them out there and make adjustments and see what works and what doesn't work, because it's totally uncharted territory.
Absolutely, and be kind to each other along the way. It's really interesting because you've made this huge transition in your life to health and just feeling better overall, and it seems just to keep blossoming from there with all of your projects and everything you're working on. And it's just it's a good example of how that can work for everybody, I would imagine.
I really appreciate you saying that. That just makes my heart bursting. So yeah, totally.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you really wanted to get out there on the show today?
I am offering for the holidays. I have the black and yellow holiday special. Love Java is $25 off for a 16 pack, which is a good serving every day, or two regular cups of coffee, or like a travel mug size. For $100, I can ship that to you, and you definitely should notice some improvements after 2 weeks on Love Java. And just buy a yellow jacket and start wearing it.
Definitely get that conversation going. David, what else you got for us? I think David may have dropped from the call. That's a little weird. Can't hear him. That's all right. Well, I guess that's a good place to end it, though. Don't forget about that black and yellow sale with Love Java. Definitely endorsing this product. I like it a lot. It's good stuff. We're really happy to be working with you, Jessica, on all this stuff. Everybody, and we really appreciate your support of our show as well through the advertising and sponsorship. It's great. Definitely going to keep in touch and figure out community market days over here in Washington for sure. So, yeah, Love Java, your gateway to health freedom. And if Jessica's story is not a testimony to that, I don't know what else you want. Get on it. Jump in, get to work, work with people in your community, be kind to each other, and check out Love Java on Facebook, at Love Java on Instagram, and at lovejava.com. It was really great to talk to you, and look forward to talking to you in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nick. Have a great day.
You as well. We'll see you later, everybody.